President Biden has pledged America's support for Israel in its struggle against Hamas. The Pentagon is sending weapons to Israel and a carrier group to the Mediterranean. Some members of Congress are criticizing the administration's policies towards Iran. They're also asking if the White House will stand with Israel for the long term. Dale Hurd has the story.
The White House is showing strong support for Israel in its hour of need, dispatching a carrier strike group and supplies to the Middle East. But some are asking if the U.S. will keep standing beside Israel as the casualties in Gaza rise. The U.S. has ordered the Gerald R. carrier strike group to the eastern Mediterranean to be ready to assist Israel. And the Pentagon is also sending supplies of munitions. The Navy's newest and most advanced aircraft carrier will be accompanied by cruisers and destroyers. At least 4 Americans died in the Hamas attack, and 7 are missing or unaccounted for, numbers that could go higher. President Biden condemned the attack, promising continued military assistance for Israel and calling on all countries to stand against terrorism.
The United States stands with Israel. We will not ever fail to have their back.
But with multiple sources now reporting that Iran helped plan the devastating action against Israel, Republican Congressman Steve Scalise, a candidate for House Speaker, tweeted that the Biden administration must be held accountable for its appeasement of these Hamas terrorists, including handing over billions of dollars to them and their Iranian backers. When he was shown that tweet on ABC's This Week program, Secretary of State Antony Blinken called those billions of dollars that were given back to Iran Iranian money.
This involved Iranian resources, not American taxpayer dollars. These were resources that Iran had acquired from the sale of its oil that were stuck in a bank, in this case in South Korea.
With the prospect of a protracted bloody war not only between Israel and Hamas, but possibly Iran, Republicans are already worried the White House could waver in its commitment to Israel.
We have to be with them in the long run. President Biden often says that we're going to support Ukraine for as long as it takes. After yesterday's savage butchery in Israel, surely President Biden will also support Israel for as long as it takes to destroy Hamas.
The response in the Middle East has been mostly anti-Israel, including Saudi Arabia's statement blaming Israel for the attack, possibly putting the Saudi-Israeli peace deal in jeopardy. At an emergency UN Security Council session Sunday, the United States demanded that all 15 members strongly condemn the attack, but Russia blocked any Security Council action. Dale Hurd, CBN News.
Well, CBN Middle East Bureau Chief Chris Mitchell joins us now from Jerusalem. So, Chris, tell us what's happening with the fighting.
Well, the fighting is right now on the southern border. Most of the communities are in Israeli hands. 15 of the 24 communities there on the Gaza border have been evacuated. But it looks like Israel is in control of those communities that have been overrun by these Hamas terrorists and bringing this Israel's 9/11 and such a horrific time. It's really reeling here, Gordon. I would say I've never seen anything quite like this. Almost everyone I talk to or interview, this is such a paradigm change for Israel, and it looks like there's resolve building all over the country to do what it needs to do to eradicate this terror threat on its southern border for so many years. And I would add, Gordon, you know, there was a concept that maybe we could live side by side with a weakened terror state. Now they know that that really doesn't work.
Well, Netanyahu has vowed to destroy Hamas. Israel has declared war. Are we looking at a ground war where Israeli troops will invade?
I think we're looking at a major operation very soon, Gordon. I think the reluctance of Israeli forces to go into Gaza has become its urban warfare, likely many casualties. It's very hard. There'll be booby traps, there'll be tunnels. And that's part of the reason Israel has been reluctant over the years in the past to go into Gaza. But I think right now with this unprecedented massacre of Israelis, maybe up to 1,000 when the final count is done, is really going to lead Israel to do what it can to eradicate and destroy Hamas and its infrastructure so that no longer poses a threat to Israel. So I would expect a major operation in the not too distant future.
Well, there are over 2 million people living in Gaza, and you look at this and go, well, if I'm an Israeli general, do I want to send in troops, or do I just want to turn it into rubble? And my choice, if I were in that position, it would be a very difficult choice. I mean, the number of lives that are going to be lost is absolutely horrific. Are we looking at that? Or are we looking at they're going to say we don't want to get into an urban warfare situation? We will bomb you into oblivion.
I think it's. I don't think Israel's going to take this bomb you into oblivion tactic. I think they have, over the years, shown that they try to do all they can to eradicate or to eliminate any civilian casualties. However, in wartime, that's almost impossible to do. And that's what they've done over the years. Surgical strikes whenever Hamas or another Islamic group out of Gaza has fired rockets into Israel. But right now, I think it's going to be a combination of surgical strikes and a ground invasion in there. I think that's really the only way to take the land and to destroy Hamas and its infrastructure. The one thing that really is a couple of things really that are concerning Israel right now, Gordon. First of all, if you do take over the Gaza Strip, who's going to be the one governing after that? That's been a major consideration. And the other thing, and really this is something that is so dear and such an anguish to the Israeli people, is the number of hostages in there. They're going to be used as human shields and perhaps used as ransom. But that's the conundrum that is Israel's military and political leadership face right now.
Well, I think Hamas has miscalculated them. They've openly said we're going to take the hostages and we're going to trade them. Israel is going to be forced to release every Palestinian in an Israeli jail. These are all, known and tried terrorists, and so they're looking to get them all released. I think they're misjudging it. I don't think Israel is going to release a single one. Is this hostage situation, or is their view, is the Hamas view accurate, or am I right in reading the Israeli leadership?
No, I think you're exactly right. I think that's what Hamas is expecting. They're going to use all these hostages as ransom, stopping Israel from coming in on the ground. I think the number of dead, the number of wounded, injured, has forced Israel to go beyond that. They're going to go in and do what they can to rescue these hostages. But I think that they're willing to go in, even at the risk of some of these hostages, just to, for once and for all, come against this terror threat on its southern border.
Well, there's a report in the Wall Street Journal that Iran is behind all of this, that Iran helped coordinate it, certainly helped supply it, and this has been a proxy war for some time. Is this going to develop into a wider war? Is Israel going to take the position that Iran has declared war?
Well, I think that's the thought of many people out here right now, is the fact that the number one threat, I think the number one question, besides dealing with Hamas, an Iranian proxy on Israel's southern border, is what's going to happen with Hezbollah, an even greater threat, a strategic threat on Israel's northern border. They have as many as 150 or 200,000 rockets. Just a few minutes ago, we got a report that there have been several infiltrators on Israel's northern border. There was a mortar attack just yesterday. Signs that maybe Hezbollah does want to get into this. It's a question of what Israel will do once that happens, or it's a question of Tehran. Will they have Hezbollah join the fray, and what would Israel do for that? Even a greater question will be there a direct conflict between Israel and Iran? Would this be a time when Israel wants to damage, destroy Iran's nuclear facilities? All questions that remain to be seen. And that's why I think you led us in prayer, Gordon, just a few minutes ago. I've never seen as much prayer around the world for Israel right now. And I think evangelical Christians, Jews, are praying right now for the peace of Jerusalem, I think like never before, and I think it's going to increase as the war goes on.
Is the Israeli population ready for how long this is going to be? This isn't going to be a short-term solution. There's not going to be any lightning strike. If you're talking about urban warfare in Gaza, it could stretch out for years. Are they ready for that?
I think they are. I think initially there was a confusion among Israelis. They were wondering, how could this have happened? What was the failure, the intelligence failure, the military failure? How could this hundreds and hundreds of Hamas terrorists come and literally slaughter families at will? So first of all, they were confused. They were terrified. They were horrified. They're horrified now about the images. But I think the resolve of what's happened is bringing the Israelis together like never before. I just was interviewing, an expert, and he was saying that resolve is happening right now. So I think they are prepared for a long, extracted war, however that may take, weeks, months, maybe even longer. But I think right now, because of the slaughter of so many people, Israel in many ways is like a family. Everybody either serves in the army or knows somebody who serves in the army, and they all feel the pain and the anguish when somebody's daughter is kidnapped, like Noah, and when somebody's body is desecrated or family slaughtered. So I think really there is a resolve here in Israel right now to do what it takes to eliminate this threat on its southern border.
Chris, thanks for the report. We will absolutely continue to pray for Israel. And I want everyone to know we stand with Israel. We stand with the fulfillment of what was spoken by the prophets years ago. And we pray for them. We pray for them in their time of trial. And we understand fully what they're facing, and being energized to rise up and kill is definitely not on their minds or on their souls or on their spirits. But that is what's happening, the full fury of an aroused democracy.